We are live, Charlotte and surrounding areas. We're back with another episode of Under Construction. And we actually were going to take a break today because it's Super Sunday. But a significant event in the history of the Charlotte Hornets happened. We actually made a significant trade at the trade deadline.
A trade that's not Brad Wanamaker, basically. Is that what you're saying?
Not Timothy Mozgov, not some salary cap clearing thing.
Not Joel Prisbilla, not Miles Plumlee. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I mean an actual trade that has paid dividends and we've only played 2 games since that trade, and the impact has been noticeable. What's up, Jarrett? For those who don't know, if you've been living under a rock, the Charlotte Hornets at the trade deadline, like an hour before the trade deadline ended, traded Ish Smith and Vernon Carey to the Washington Wizards for Montrezl Harrell. And boy, has it made a difference already. Like now the Hornets have gone 1-1. And we'll talk about those games. They blew Detroit just out of the water, thanks in part to the impact that Harrell had. And then they lost. I don't want to call it a heartbreaker because they were getting run out the gym. They were down by 35 points at one point, and they came all the way back to get it within 2 before they ended up losing. But Montrezl Harrell was a big part of that game as well. Overall, the Hornets, since the last time that you guys talked to us, have gone 1-3. They lost to Toronto, Chicago, and Memphis, and they pretty much dominated Detroit because that's what the Charlotte Hornets do. If only we could play Detroit like
every time.
Yeah, at least that was 15 straight victories against Detroit. So, Angry Black Fan Jamal. What up? The weekend hole, the Charlotte Hornets trade, what it looks like. Just your thoughts on the Hornets this week in general.
2 disappointing losses I'll say 1 disappointing loss. Chicago's a tough team, man. Zach LaVine is a Hornets killer. I mean, DeMar DeRozan looks like 88 Jordan. I give them a lot of credit, man. They've done. Their GM has done a great job of assembling a great team. But Toronto was a disappointing loss, man. I didn't see us losing by 15 to Toronto. Look, nobody's going to like this, man, but here's my call out for the week, dude. Miles Bridges got to be better. If this team is to break out of this slump, Miles has got to be better. Kelly Oubre is still very much slumping. He's got to be better. Thank God for Detroit. You know what I mean? Like you said, I wish we could play them every week.
Game, yeah.
yeah. That's definitely a get right game. The Memphis game, the Memphis game was. I'll say this: it was nothing more than just a thorough ass kicking in the first half. I mean, there's no real analysis to it. They outplayed us on every level. We were outcoached. We were outplayed. They out hustled us. There's no expert analysis to offer on the Memphis game. However, in the second half, dude, there was a lot to take from that game. We're going to get more into it in a minute, but there was a lot of good to take from that Memphis game in the second half. I give a lot of credit to Borrego in the second half and the way he pushed button. Yeah, I know. That's
against the law. We don't do that.
Right, we don't do that around here, right? But I like the way he pushed buttons and kind of and threw out a really I want to say awkward, but a lineup that we're not used to seeing out there that provided a spark, man. So
yeah, overall, that was weird because people were praising Borrego for that lineup. But if I had told you, hey, JB's gonna run a lineup with Mason Plumlee, Montrezl Harrell, LaMelo Ball.
You already know the answer to that.
People would have been like, no.
If he's going to do that, fire him today. Oh, my God. What is he doing? But you know what, Kaza? Here's the point I was wanting to make about that today. You remember early in Borrego's tenure, what did he always do? What was the the term that I like to affectionately use with Borrego in his earlier tenure with the Hornets. I always used to say he liked to throw crap at the wall. Yes. Sometimes he used to throw crap at the wall. Let me see what lineups work. Let me try this. This is unusual.
He got a lot of criticism for that.
He got a ton of criticism for that. But fast forward to the Memphis game, and it almost got us a victory from coming back from damn near 34 down. So, yeah. and look, I hope not only is this a turning point for the Charlotte Hornets, but I hope James Borrego has his Ron Rivera moment. You know what I mean by that? I hope James Borrego has this moment where it's just like, you know what? Okay. What I've been doing has been working most of the season, but we are in a slide. Let me try to shake things up a little bit. And I think it's a good time to shake it up a little bit. Maybe nothing drastic. And I'm not saying start JT Thor. I'm not saying anything like that. But let's see going forward, man, if he tries these experimental lineups, for lack of a better term, going forward.
Yeah, I think what's happening is the secret is out on the Charlotte Hornets. Like
the tape is out.
Right. It's not just that Kelly Oubre is slumping. Teams are playing the Hornets differently. They are running him off. Kelly Oubre was not known as a three-point shooter in any place he was at previously. Not Washington, not Golden State. Yeah, I mean, he could stretch the floor and hit an open three, but here in Charlotte, he's a three-point shooter. He's a threat.
Right.
And I think the first half of the season, teams were kind of like playing him. Okay, I'm going to let him shoot. Now, you can't let Kelly Oubre get open shots because he might dump 10 three-pointers on you in a quarter like he did a few weeks ago. Teams are playing that differently. Same with Miles Bridges. Teams are running him off the three-point line. Notice he's been in a massive three-point shooting slump because he's not getting those open shots anymore, either in the corner or at the foul line extended from three like he used to. So he's having to try and find a way to create his own offense, which has always been a knock on Miles Bridges, is that he couldn't create his own offense. He worked on that in the offseason. You know, now he's got some ball handling skills and he can get to the basket, but he's having to do that a lot more. And that's difficult to do. And that takes a lot of work and effort. And, you know, depending on who you're playing against, you know, against Steven Adams, that's not going to work because Steven Adams is sitting right there in the paint. Yeah, you get past your guy, and now you got Steven Adams who might put an elbow in your neck. So, yeah, Borrego has to do something, I think, to change up, to change up the game plan a little. It can't be. I'm not saying. A lot of people are saying, well, JB has always had the Hornets run and gun, run the break, shoot threes, run the break. That's not working. Well, the thing is, you can't completely abandon what got you there.
Right.
The Hornets were the number one offense. For the most part, no lower than number two at any point this season. They were either number one or number two in offensive rating and in the top three in three-point shooting. Why would you move away from that just because teams are playing you differently? You have to then find a way to keep what got you there while incorporating new wrinkles. And I think we may have seen that some in the Memphis game. You cannot ignore the impact that JT Thor made coming in the game.
And look. And that leads me to my next question. So in the press conference, Borrego mentioned JT Thor, and I'm not a direct quote because I don't have it in front of me, man, but something to the effect of JT Thor has shown his effect on the game. He now has my attention. So my question to you, Kaizen, what do you think about this? What does that mean for Mr. Jalen McDaniels? Because now let's be fair. The last time Thor got some minutes and we were all excited and McDaniels was back in the rotation, we were just kind of like, okay, that was short-lived. Is it going to be different this time?
JB, I'll say this about JB. A lot of people think he plays favorites. That is not the case. You will lose your job. You will lose your job. We saw it happen.
Regardless of how much you get paid. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
We saw it happen with Devontae Graham. We saw it happen with Dwayne Bacon. Remember, Dwayne Bacon started, got injured, lost his job to Devontae Graham.
Yeah.
Same thing that happened to Jalen McDaniels. I mean, and we know that JB really likes Jalen McDaniels. He's lengthy. He can play defense. I don't really care for his decisioning, but, you know, when he has good games, he has good games. But I think JT Thor might actually fit better into what Borrego wants to do. And if JT Thor continues to play well, while Jalen McDaniels is injured and the Hornets go on a little run, why would you disrupt that by bringing McDaniels back, who's going to be out of shape a little bit because he's been injured? Uh-oh. Did we lose you, Jamal? Am I going to have to bloviate by myself for the next few minutes? No, there he goes. All right.
Unless you hang out around, man.
My Stephen A. hat.
Look, I'm sorry, man. I don't know quite where you left off at, man, but I think we're talking about JT Thor and the minutes he may or may not get going forward, man.
In the past, we've seen if a guy has a big impact, JB is not shy. I mean, we saw it with Vernon. Remember, Vernon Carey had that great game last year, and then he started the next two games, and he was trash.
Right.
So he sat back down.
He sat right back down.
But JB gave him a chance. He said, "Okay, all right, we're gonna see what you got, Vernon Carey," and it just didn't work out. We might see the same thing with JT. I mean, JT Thor is not going to start, but I think he's going to see a significant increase in minutes, particularly with the injury situation. We've already seen it with James Bouknight. I think we're going to see that with JT.
Speaking of James Bouknight, man. So when Cody Martin comes back, man, you are we saying that Bouknight is still going to get minutes when
now that's going to be tough.
And listen, we saying Borrego doesn't have favorites, but if I were to pick a favorite, probably might be Cody Martin, bro.
Cody Martin is a favorite of JB, and he should be, because Cody Martin is like the poster boy for development and overachieving.
Yeah.
Anyone who thought
and not only that, but just making that immediate impact when he hits the floor. That's the important part. Yeah.
Even last season, when he wasn't quite as good as he was at the beginning of this season, there was a difference when Cody Martin was on the floor. In the effort, the hustle, there was a big impact. And we're missing that a little bit. We've been missing that since Cody Martin was gone with COVID. I don't know if Bouknight is going to provide enough offensive punch to offset Cody Martin's total.
I want to be, because here's the thing, man. Like from what I've been seeing from Bouknight over the last two games since he's been in the rotation, I honestly have not been that impressed. But I do want to be fair and objective as much as I can with somebody who probably broke their own wrist, but we're not going to talk about that. With the wrist injury that he has, I'm thinking it may be affecting his shooting. Maybe. I want to be fair and I want to be objective about that, man. But with that being said, going forward, it is going to be interesting to see if JB still trusts him, because that's the word JB uses a lot, trust. And fans don't really get that concept. I want to see if JB still trusts Bouknight to go out there and make that impact that we're used to seeing from Cody Martin. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard call.
That's a hard call.
I mean, it's important to note that Cody Martin has not played well since coming back from COVID a few weeks ago. So there's that. And plus, he's been injured for a significant amount of time. He probably won't come back until after the All-Star break. He's going to be out of shape some. The minutes are going to be rough for him when he comes back. He's not going to come back and make an immediate impact, and that may hurt him some, because by then James Bouknight will be a little bit more integrated with the team and what they're trying to do. They've got, 2 more games this week before the All-Star break.
Yeah.
So, that's Cody Martin's I think he's going to have to work a little bit harder to get back in the rotation where he was, else he's going to split minutes with Bouknight. Plus, Cody Martin wants to bag this offseason, and right now, it's not looking good. If you're Mitch, especially with Montrez having an impact, you may want to say, we could let Cody Martin go and pay Montrezl Harrell what we were going to pay Cody Martin,
right?
Anywhere from $8 to $10 million a year. I think Montrezl Harrell makes $9 million a year.
Right.
That could be. This could be a significant.
Yeah, but I hate to be the dead horse, man, but I think I've said in previous shows, man, that decision probably is going to have to be made anyway, man. I just don't see minutes long term for Cody Martin and James Bouknight, not 2 wing players like that. I don't know if I want to stick Cody Martin at the 3 spot. So again, I think that decision is going to come either way, man. You know what I mean?
We see this all the time with guys like Cody Martin, guys that we absolutely love, who bring a spark and energy to the team. But if you can improve the roster by moving on from them, I mean,
you got to do it.
Look at Ish Smith. There's nobody in Charlotte that didn't like Ish Smith.
Right.
He literally won games for us. He flat out, there are games we won because of Ish Smith.
And with all that being said, man, that trade was a no-brainer. I mean, that trade was an absolute no-brainer, dude.
Absolutely. Let's talk about that trade. How shocked were you?
I was shocked, man. Listen, I was pretty shocked because anytime that I look for Charlotte Hornets information, like, you know, because we actually have a podcast, we actually have to know what we're talking about, y'all. So everything. You got a point there.
YouTube channels, you just say whatever.
You got a point there. But anyway, we like to be informed here on Under Construction, and everything that I researched and everything that I read, everything that I got from Charlotte Hornets intel, nothing led me to Montrezl Harrell. Nothing. There was absolutely nothing out there that said, hey, Montrezl Harrell's a target. We've been talking to him. There was nothing out there. When that notification popped up at roughly, 2:45 or something like that.
Literally like 15 minutes before the trade deadline ended. I thought it was fake because I'm like, the trade deadline ends in like 10 minutes. This can't be real.
Right. And on top of that, man, I kept looking for, I know we're going to trade somebody that's going to piss me off. Like, I know we're going to trade somebody like Cody Martin or somebody like Kelly Oubre, like someone I didn't want to trade. But when I looked at what we gave up, I was like, it makes too much sense. Like, wow, man. And let me tell you why it was perfect. This trade was perfect, Kaiser. When I say perfect, I mean perfect. There's no long-term capital implications, It's nothing that's going to get us back in salary cap hell. It's not that swing for the fences trade that fans might want right now, but it's not time for. You get what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
It was the perfect trade for where we're at in the season and where we're at in this process, man. A+ to Mitch Kupchak for that trade, dude.
Yeah, it gives us a lot of flexibility in the offseason because there are going to be guys like Nurkic and Sabonis who are free agents in the offseason. Harrell comes off the books, so now you got 3 centers right there that you can look at.
Right.
You can look at re-signing Harrell. You can try and go after Nurkic. You could possibly go after Sabonis or even Miles Turner, although I think the Hornets have kind of like cooled down.
Kick the tires on that.
Yeah, especially with the injury. You're gonna be able to pay Miles now, regardless. I mean, that trade solved so many problems, and it's weird because things never work out that well for us.
Right. Right. We never had a kind of luck, man. Right.
Yeah. So, when I saw the trade, I thought this can't be real. Plus,
this can't be real.
Plus, although Montrezl Harrell is a smallish center, but see, that actually works for us because JB loves small ball. And because even though he's small, he can play big. He's got a super long wingspan. We've already seen these last 2 games, and he's not afraid to go to the basket. He's not a good rebounder mainly because of his size. And to all the Plumlee haters, that's an advantage Plumlee will have over him, and that's going to make it kind of interesting, I think, with the way the 5 run.
Which is probably why we saw that lineup in the Grizzlies game.
Yep.
Anybody watching, raise your hand if you ever would have thought Mason Plumlee and Montrezl Harrell would have been on the court at the same time. None of you. Stop it. All right. That was JB throwing crap at the wall and it stuck. And I kind of want JB to go back to that again.
I mean, what if your starting lineup was Miles at the 3, Harrell at the 4, Plumlee at the 5, with Ball, Rozier, and then you've got Oubre coming off the bench as a 6th man.
I mean,
is anybody mad at that?
Here's the thing, man. Like, as far as the analytical NBA and today's NBA and what it looks like on paper, I don't like it on paper. But guess what? On paper doesn't win you basketball games, and that was proven last night, man. So you're looking at that lineup, and this is what makes that more important. And our brother Vince brought up a good point, man. This team has a tendency to get off the slow starts. Not so much lately, but during the season, they've had a tendency to get off the slow starts. Put that energy group out there in the first quarter. You know what I mean? put that group out there that's at least going to bring defensive energy and not let the other team score 36 damn points in the first quarter. And maybe that'll help your struggles a bit.
Yeah, I think Montrezl Harrell is like what JB wants PJ Washington to be. Harrell's not as good of a shooter as PJ is, but he can play bigger.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to – I think we might finally get to see PJ go back to his natural position. That's what I would like to see, is him go back to the 4.
Look, he's looked more comfortable last two games playing the 4 than the 5. So,
hey, Maxton, Batum comes off the books the end of next season.
Jesus.
I know, right?
Yeah. We got one more season.
Forever. Just seems like forever. Which,
golly, man.
You know what? The end of next season, I know that we still got to go through this whole season and next, but the end of the next season is going to be super important. Hayward's.
I know where you're going with this.
Hayward will probably be traded at some point next season because he'll be on a large expiring contract, or he'll either take a discount because he really likes being here, and he's smart enough to know, hey, I'm kind of on the downslope of my career. I'm not going to get $30 million literally anywhere
else. Right.
NBA. I could stay here for 12 to 15, but regardless, he's going to be off the books. Batum's going to be off the books. LaMelo Ball will get picked up on the club option. Miles Bridges will already be signed. So then what you're going to have is Kai Jones in year 3, JT Thor in year 3. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm excited for the end of next season, for like 2 seasons.
Listen. One of our main criticisms, going back to the Bobcats days and the Rich Cho days, one of our main criticisms was lack of foresight, wanting to make that home run trade, but that trade that's going to affect your ability to really do anything significant in the future, aka the Al Jefferson move. What I like about Mitch Kupchak, if you go talking to your point, I love when fans kind of say, man, we're tired of mediocrity. We're tired of making mediocre moves. Why are we always making mediocre moves? Blah, 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 blah. By the time we get to that year 3 of LaMelo Ball, by the time we get to those expiring deals, that's when you have the flexibility to really swing for the fences. That's when you have the money to really go out there and say, all right, let's try to get a number 2 for LaMelo Ball.
Think about –
Hold on. Which is why fans, I know you hate this word, which is why you have to exercise patience sometimes.
Can't do that.
Can't do that, right?
If you're patient, then you're okay with mediocrity.
But to sum this all up, to your point, man, it's going to be interesting to see what we do with that flexibility when we get to that point. And I'm happy that we're actually going to have it at that point.
Yeah, think about the in-house core, the development, the people that we drafted that we're going to have at the end of next season. You're going to have LaMelo Ball, James Bouknight, JT Thor, and Kai Jones.
Yeah.
And Miles Bridges.
Right.
They're all going to be LaMelo is going to be prime at that point. Miles Bridges will be probably in his prime as well. And you're going to have so imagine you're a big-time free agent. Who will be I'm trying to think who would be a big-time free agent at that point that we would want to go after. A guy like Joel Embiid or somebody like that. Or Karl Anthony Towns. Somebody like that who thinks, man, look at that core there. I could win with LaMelo, Bouknight, Miles Bridges, and Kai Jones.
Yeah. No. I mean, look, man, I hate looking that far ahead, but I mean, we haven't had a GM with this kind of management in a while, man. So it's something to look forward to in the future, definitely.
Let's talk about the games a little bit. By the way, Blasted Throne. We talked a little bit previously about JT cracking the rotation with McDaniels. I really think we're going to see an increase in minutes. And I'll be honest, if JT Thor continues to play well, I think McDaniels is going to lose his spot in the rotation. You have to. He can do. Yeah. JT Thor can do everything McDaniels can do,
but better. Yep.
So
Yeah.
So let's talk about the game. We already talked about Toronto and Chicago, but I actually want to talk about the Detroit game. And a lot of people are going to just gloss over that game because
it's Detroit.
It's the Pistons.
It's the Pistons.
I mean, come on. But that was the first game we had with Montrezl Harrell. Now, because he had been traded literally 12 hours before, he could have sat out this game by his own choice. But he decided to hop a plane. He had to go fly all the way to Charlotte to sign the contract, get his jerseys, which had the wrong number on them. They had to make him a new game day jersey like a few hours before, and then hop a plane and meet the team in Detroit. And he came off the bench. And
listen, let's be clear about something. He didn't have to do this. He absolutely did not have to try to hustle to play that game.
No, he could have just been like, okay, I'm gonna chill and get a practice. I mean, he hadn't even practiced with the team.
Right.
He didn't know anything about what the Charlotte Hornets do, and he decided to come in and bring his energy. And he had 15 points and 6 rebounds. And I'm sorry, hold on, my ESPN app, of course, is going crazy. But to come in and make that kind of impact on the team with no practice. And then here's the important thing. After the game, he sent a tweet out saying that was the most fun he had playing basketball in a long time. What do you think about that tweet? And was it just a thing where an overreaction maybe because they played a bad team and dominated them?
I don't think it's overreaction. Let me tell you why, man. I'm going to tell you the irony of that tweet. So if anybody has heard, Montrezl Harrell, the last few games with the Wizards, especially since Bill went down with the injury, he hadn't been happy in Washington, and he actually called the Wizards out during the press conference. Something to the effect of, we're not playing together. Basketball is not fun. Something to that effect. I don't have a direct quote, but just know he wasn't happy with the Wizards at that particular time. So he gets traded. I don't know if anybody saw that clip out there, but he comes to the locker room. He's greeted with just the most warmth you could ever imagine somebody being greeted with. The irony with this is that the Charlotte Hornets, who have been struggling mightily the last 9 to 10 games, okay, 5-6 game losing streak, blah, blah, blah. And everybody said, and some people would like to believe that the locker room had been lost. Look at everything that transpired with that with the trade and how he was greeted and how he was saying basketball is fun. There's no way in hell that locker room had ever been lost. Okay, that if it showed anything, that locker room is as tight as it's going to be, and it showed itself in the Detroit game. And even though we lost, and here's the kicker, even though we lost to the Grizzlies, he sent out another tweet. Hey, we're going to get him next time. It's all right. We're cool. Okay. Look at it's a breath of fresh air considering what the last week or two have been like with the Hornets and all these swirling questions around the Hornets organization. A lot of it was much ado about nothing. The incident with James Bouknight and so forth and so on. So it was just a breath of fresh air to just see the energy that he immediately brought to the team once he got here, man.
Yeah, I think that today I made a post talking about this in the Charlotte Hornets group, but today's social media culture and the culture of negativity, particularly on YouTube, makes people look at what was happening with the Charlotte Hornets and view it as the locker room's loss instead of saying those guys are fiery and competitive.
Right.
When Tom Brady yells at people on the sideline and throws tablets and gets in his coach's faces, what do people say? Man, boy, Patriots are lost.
Oh man, looks like he's going to get his coach fired. You never heard it.
Nobody says that. They say, "Wow, Tom Brady's a competitor. He's fiery. He's getting his guys fired up." That's how really we should have been looking at the Charlotte Hornets.
Great point.
Bouknight and JB didn't get in a fight over. It might have been over playing time for that game, but not because they didn't like each other. because they were Bouknight's competitive guy. I think the Hornets now have this competitive culture. They're fiery. That's why we saw LaMelo. Yeah, it looked like he was fighting his teammates.
He was fired up.
But yeah, he was fired up.
He was fired up. Yeah,
yeah. And I think the other players, they loved that. You
right.
think
I did. I loved it.
Everyone, I'm watching the game at home. Like, okay, yeah. Let's
look, I want to be clear. I want to see more from that from LaMelo. Again, like you said, man. But people are just they want that negative narrative because the Hornets franchise has such a negative cloud around it, or whatever, or they have been in the past, man. But another point I wanted to make, man, and I'm forgetting what that point was already, man. Give me a second, man. God, I'm getting old, bro. What was I gonna say? God damn it! Take over while I think of what my point.
I just think that there's been a major culture shift in Charlotte. I think since Mitch and JB got here. Whatever you want to say about the coaching or the GM work or whatever, I do think there's been a culture shift. I never saw anything like this in the Steve Clifford era.
Right.
You just didn't. And also, I think that you think having fans in your own arena chanting MVP for the other guy.
Come on now.
You think LaMelo? You think
they didn't fire him up a little bit? Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. You think LaMelo's like, no, bro. This is my city.
But here's the thing, man. To the people who were saying, oh man, they quit on JB. The evidence has built up against that so much, man. And what I was gonna say was, I've seen a team quit on a coach. The Bobcats quit on Larry Brown. That's a team that quit on their coach.
Yeah.
This is far from that. This team, if they quit on JB, there's no coming back from that Grizzlies game. They would have just packed it up and said, we're done. That's when the team quits. This team hadn't quit, man. That narrative is a pile of crap, man. I'm sorry. Let's do away with that now.
Yeah. Also about last night's game. There's no way the Memphis Grizzlies have that many goddamn fans in Charlotte. Excuse me. There's no fucking way.
Listen, so his family is from Dallsdale, South Carolina, and they came deep. And the reason I know this for sure is because last season, or the season before last, I'm sorry, it was the same thing, because I actually sat close to his community in the stands 2 seasons before. So his family rolls a little deep, man. And then on top of that, how basketball fans are. The higher that profile gets raised, and once they become an all-star, they latch on to that player, man. So I get it. But what I'm most proud of with Charlotte fans, they drowned out that little BS MVP chant that they tried to do. Hornets fans weren't having it, and we've come a long way in that aspect.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I know that today's NBA people are fans of players, not teams.
Right.
I get it. John Morant he's the hot topic in the league.
He's the hot guy.
So everyone wanted. I mean, when was the last time you saw people like fighting over Memphis Grizzlies tickets?
Right.
It was almost impossible to get a ticket to the game last night. So yeah, I get it, but I don't. Stuff like that fires the team up. I'm just glad to see that competitive nature, and it reminded me of last season. We saw this from the Hornets. How many times did they just show they never quit, they never gave up, they come back? As Jared Costin said, I'd like to see this translate into a playoff appearance. However, having said that, the standings look kind of shaky for us to get the playoffs outright. We're probably gonna be 7th or 8th seed and have to do a play-in game. But you know what? I think that's the best thing for this team, because we remember what happened last year in the play-in game. And for those of you that don't know, at the Hornets practice facility, somebody posted the box score from the Indiana Pacers Charlotte Hornets play-in game, and it's in a banner right above the door as you are entering the gym for the practice facility. So the Hornets, those that were here last season, they remember that playing game. That is burned into their heads because they got flat out embarrassed. And I think for them to go back into the play-in and as a 7 seed and win and lock in their playing spot, they're going to say, okay, it's not a fluke that we're supposed to be here this season.
Yeah, no. And that's a good point, man. Unfortunately, man, with this, with the losing streak, man, we've dug ourselves into a hole that I don't know if we're going to get out. Not through any fault of our own going forward, but just because there's just a lot of good teams in the East, man. It's okay to give those teams credit, and I don't know if we're going to fight back into a 8th or 7th seed, but
especially we've lost important games against teams that are close to us in the standings.
Yeah, right.
We have a special guest, a surprise guest. Danny Thompson is going to join us here. He's in his car. So, he's not in Charlotte. So, he's not driving crazy.
Afternoon, fellas.
What's up,
going
Danny?
on, Thompson? How you doing, sir?
Enjoying the snowfall here in Virginia this afternoon.
You can keep it there. You can
keep it there. Please keep it there, sir.
70 degrees here. It's nice.
We're good here.
Last night was beautiful. It was a remembrance of what last season was all about.
No doubt.
You take the 30, you get down by 30, and you're wondering the game is over. Then you turn back, and while the Hornets are down by 3 points, you're wondering what the hell just happened.
Yeah. It's weird though, because normally when the Hornets get down like that, I consider, man, I'm just gonna turn the game off, or at least I have it playing in the background. But I thought, because I had better stuff to do on Saturday night than just see the Hornets get eviscerated by the Memphis Grizzlies. But it was around the time actually when Ja Morant left because he had a small injury. I thought, I want to see what the Hornets do without the other team's best player on the floor.
Right.
And that kind of sparked the comeback. Like they thought, oh, we got a chance here. Ja Morant's gone. And even when he came back, that momentum continued to carry. They were like, we don't even care that Ja Morant's back in the game. We're going to keep doing what we're doing.
So I also had that kind of moment too, man. When we were, I think, going into the fourth quarter, man, I said, all right, if we can get this thing down to 15 by the fourth, we may be okay. But we weren't even there yet. I think we were down 22 going into the fourth, if I remember correctly. I don't have the stats in front of me, man. But I kept saying, just get it to 15. Just get it to 15. And slowly but surely, man, that energy boost, that spark came from the bench. That came from that weird lineup of Plumlee, Harrell, and LaMelo and Rozier. And it's just like slowly that it kept snowballing. And my favorite moment of the game, Eric Collins was like, "Oh my God, what is going on?" Me and him kind of said at the same time, like, "Holy shit, this is really happening." Because I was done with this team in the first half, man. I mean, we just looked so flat. We got out hustled, out everything in the first half, and I packed it in as a fan, so I wasn't expecting this, man. And there's a lot of good to take from that second half, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to take of it, and you realize that Montrezl Harrell has been here for 36 hours at this point,
and has already
and the infectiousness of his demeanor. Like a week ago, I posted on Twitter last night. A week ago, this Hornets team would have gave up. They would have the doors blown off them. They would have gave up. But it's something about Montrezl Harrell and his energy, and then JT Thor coming from somewhere, and LaMelo started hitting shots. Because Rozier did all the offense for 3 quarters. For 3 quarters, nothing. It was Terry and a bunch of players from Garinger in the first 3 quarters. That's what it looked like.
From 96 Garinger.
Yeah. Early 2000s Garinger.
Right, yeah.
But at the end of the day,
I'm gonna tell you something that's really refreshing about this. Like, how, as Hornets fans, how long have we been coveting the vocal guy, the guy that's gonna yell at people, the guy that's gonna give you energy by not just his play but just his demeanor. Like you said, we literally have not had that probably since Steven Jackson.
And you know what happened when Steven Jackson was here? They were a playoff team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although he took the worst shot in Charlotte.
He took the worst shot.
Hey, you know what? I've forgiven him. I'm gonna let S. Jack ride on that because I like Steven Jackson a lot.
For as many good things that Steven Jackson did for Charlotte when he was here, we still remember that one bad shot. I think that defines his whole career in Charlotte. But Montrezl Harrell is what everybody wanted Terry Rozier to be.
I was gonna say I'm really surprised that Terry's not that guy. But he wasn't that guy in Boston either. So I mean, I don't know why we expected him to.
You got to think when he was in Boston, he was around a bunch of guys and a bunch of he was a young guy. So
Right.
Sometimes it takes people time to develop their voice. In the locker room, or some guys just don't have that voice. You look at Miles is learning how to be a leader, but sometimes leaders, some leaders don't have to lead by vocal. Miles is a guy that just works hard, and for Charlotte last night to be down 35. To really be within one possession last night, and Miles Bridges literally just shot like his rookie season. You have to really, really be proud of what this team can accomplish and what can be done over the next 27 games. Even though the All-Star game is coming around the corner, which is weird.
Right. Hey, real quick, man. I want to address Max in the chat, man. There was a moment in the game where Harold was kind of yapping with some fans underneath the basket. That was Ja Morant's family. They're boisterous. I'll use that word. I'll just keep it at that. They're a boisterous group, and they were yapping at Harold, and Harold was yapping at her back. So that was the gist.
Yeah. Harold got family here. So next game.
Tarboro versus Dalzell. Is that what you're saying?
Listen, Tarboro versus Tarboro versus South Carolina. But you know what though? I think that Harold was the right move at the right time. Charlotte got him for nothing. Some Bojangles chicken, some cheerwine they got him for. Because Vernon Carey was never going to see the floor. A top 45 protected second-round pick. Charlotte needs no more second-round picks on this roster. We don't need any more fuel to the development fire around here. We don't need nothing more.
Some would argue they don't need any more first-round picks around here. But, yeah, I get it.
Well, the good news, the good thing with Charlotte in this trade now is that it does clear some kind of cap space, and they get to kick the tires on Montrezl Harrell, who loves it here. I mean, he's home. He gets to see his kids. He said before during the trade, he hadn't seen his kids since Christmas.
Yeah.
So when you have a chance to be with your kids closer to home, I think his energy, Charlotte should have had him in the first place. We should have had him 2 years ago when, we tried to acquire him.
I get it. He want.
But that's his fault. That's all.
But you got an opportunity to play with LeBron and AD. They were the hands-on favorites to win a ring.
That was more Rich Paul than I think Montrezl Harrell.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, we just added another Rich Paul client to this roster.
Now let me
time out. Could that be a good thing? Could that possibly be a good thing?
It could be. I mean, it could be a really good thing, or it could be a really bad
thing, right?
Right. Because if Harold plays well and Charlotte takes care of them, hey, Rich Paul might want to deal with Charlotte.
I was going to ask you though, but here's the thing: Harold, because he was essentially still on the Lakers deal, where he took a pay cut to go play with them. He only makes $9 million ish a year. Is he gonna want to play for Charlotte for that? Because I think Mitch will offer him $9-10 million a year. But above that, do you really want to offer him that, considering guys like Sabonis and Nurkic are free agents?
Sabonis is long term in Sacramento, so
okay. Right.
Nurkic. But the thing is, Montrezl Harrell gives you more than what Nurkic gives. Nurkic is taller, Nurkic is stronger, but Montrezl Harrell gives you an energy level when he's engaged. When he's engaged, it's different. And Montrezl doesn't mind coming off the bench. He's come off the bench his entire career.
All right, so let me ask you about this.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Because there's been some debate in the Hornets group about whether or not Montrezl should start. And my thing is, he'd be fine as a starter, obviously, but it's more important that he gets crucial minutes, like he did last night. He was in till the very end in the Detroit game. That's really all that matters, and I think that's all he thinks about. He's been in the league 7 years. He's never had a starting role. I think he started a total of 10 games over the last 3 seasons. But a lot of people feel like, hey, this is a different situation. He's clearly the best center on the team. He should start. What are your thoughts on that?
He started 39 games in his career, 14 points, almost 6 rebounds a game off as a starter, off the bench, 14 points and 6 rebounds off the bench. It's different. He gets to come in and feast on second units because he's a starter by talent, but sometimes guys in the league know that I can go get my work in against second units, get myself going early, and then play those key fourth quarter minutes. Why is everybody the Clippers were so good all those years? Jamal Crawford and Montrezl Harrell coming off the bench and playing in those key moments in the fourth quarter. But they had a chance to get their rhythm going. They had a chance to do, those things that, they could just feast. Like what second tier center in the league is going to mess with Montrezl Harrell?
Right.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And now with Harrell coming off the bench, that allows PJ Washington to slide back to the 4.
Which I believe he's way more comfortable being the 4 than he is the 5, because he doesn't have these big assignments at the 4 anymore, in my opinion.
No, and I think now with Montrez, you can really go with a 9-man rotation and stick with the 9-man rotation through the duration of the rest of the season consistently. Once Gordon gets back in the lineup, I think we'll see JT Thor or Cody Martin fight for minutes for right now, or if Cody even comes back in the near future. But when Gordon comes back, Charlotte's 6, 7, and 8 includes Montrezl Harrell, Kelly Oubre, and then you either go Book Knight or PJ Washington.
That's not bad at all.
And you can leave Gordon as a secondary playmaker on the court.
Not bad at all.
But what I'm glad to see is, and I don't know if you guys had mentioned it earlier, was the fact of Terry Rozier in the last 2 games has figured out that he used to play point guard at one time in his career. At some point in his career, he was a point guard.
We have been seeing that JB tinker with that to having so he could spell LaMelo and not have to bring Ish Smith in. And after seeing the trade, I thought, well, with Ish gone, who's going to run the backup one? In the times where, well, now we see Terry Rozier can do it.
Yeah.
Let me say,
Gordon's the 3rd guy if you need him.
Yeah, let me say, color me shocked. I did not see Terry Rozier being the de facto backup point guard. I didn't like it. I thought the Hornets would go add another point guard, but so far, so good, man.
Hey, nearly back-to-back triple doubles. Yeah, triple double against Detroit. Almost had another one last night.
All I'm going to say is the Hornets will go after a backup point guard in the buyout market. If this thing gets even better,
right,
watch the buyout market. I'm not going to say a name, but there might be somebody.
Kemba Walker.
There might be somebody the buyout market.
I thought about why wouldn't he just buy out? He don't want to be in the Knicks. They don't want to play him. Buy him out.
The Knicks tried to trade him at the deadline. They tried to move him. Nobody was taking it. You can see a buyout in New York really quickly. And maybe the Hornets might jump in the Gordon Dragic sweepstakes.
Listen.
Gordon Dragic would be a great backup.
Kemba Walker.
There are some names out there the Hornets could really go after in the second part of the season in the buyout market. Once we get to March, once we kind of figure out where the Hornets are, give it after the All-Star break. Mitch always adds somebody in the buyout market. We got the whole thing with Wanamaker last year.
Yeah.
Right.
If the Hornets are in the right position, it would not surprise me if they went and got somebody in the buyout market to be able to help, because some nights Terry might not want to play backup point guard that night.
He might just want to shoot. Yeah.
Hey, I think Kemba's needs are good enough for 15 minutes a game. That's all we need.
But the thing is, the only problem with this is if you bring Kemba Walker back, the fan base is going to be, if Kemba has that one throwback game, everybody.
Oh yeah.
I thought about that. Yeah. And look, and the stands will. And listen, and Danny, there will be another town hall meeting about Borrego and LaMelo's minutes and all this other stuff and blah blah blah.
We go from Devontae to Kemba.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Lord have mercy.
Can you imagine the one night if LaMelo has a bad shooting night and Kemba comes in and goes 7 from 9 from the field, knocks down 4 threes, and the building goes nuts, especially at home.
Mitch is sabotaging LaMelo. They don't want LaMelo there. They never wanted him. I can't even imagine, man. Oh,
I mean, it would be literally the Cam Newton effect just backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the catch 22 with that.
The only thing is, I think with the kind of teammate Kemba Walker has been and is, I think he would adapt to anything the Charlotte Hornets want from him.
I can see him being the Tony Parker that came to Charlotte. Remember when Tony Parker came to Charlotte?
Tony Parker was for Kemba Walker.
Yeah.
Kemba Walker be for LaMelo Ball. The only difference is, remember, Tony Parker was not the former franchise player coming home.
True, right? Yeah.
Like, Cam Newton could do no wrong by Panthers fans, even though he did a lot wrong.
Right.
Hey, don't start that today, man.
What I'm saying is it's the same type of effect.
I'm going to move on to picks because I do want to talk a little bit about the All-Star game. Next week, we only have 2 games before the All-Star break. 2 very important games, Minnesota and Miami. The Minnesota game is important. I think playing Minnesota will always be important as long as they have Anthony Edwards because there's that Ball Edwards. You know, it's not really a rivalry or a feud yet, but with the fans there is because a lot of people feel like Edwards should have got Rookie of the Year, and now that LaMelo's been selected for the All-Star game and Anthony Edwards wasn't, there's always going to be that thing there. So we play them in Minnesota, and then we have a home game against Miami, who we owe one because they ran us into the dirt a few weeks ago. So your predictions for next week? Tell us.
1-1, and I really want the Hornets to take the Timberwolves personally. Here's what I mean by that. After the last game against the Timberwolves, D'Angelo Russell came out and said something to the effect of, we're a better team and we should not have lost to the Charlotte Hornets. Not a direct quote, but something to that effect. I need the Hornets to take that personally and go into Minnesota and get a W, man. So the Miami Heat game, Miami Heat, man, they're just a better team, dude. I don't know if we're ready for them yet. So I go 1-1 next week.
Something tells me that this is going to be a 1-1 week, but something odd tells me that we're going to beat the Heat and lose the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Because that would be the Hornets thing to do. That would be the Hornets thing to do.
Yeah. The Hornets thing to do is everybody has a meltdown against Minnesota, and then the day before the All-Star break, we kick Miami in the throat. We go into the break at 500, and everybody's confused on what they just saw this week. That's just because logically they should beat Minnesota. They should run up and down the floor of Minnesota, but the problem is Kelly Oubre and Miles Bridges' shot is still in Indiana. From the night he scored almost 160 points that night.
Right,
it's still
right.
there. They have. I guess
they left it on. They left it on the bus there. It's still there. Still, yeah.
Their shot got delayed. They haven't shown up since then. But nothing says Hornets better than beating Miami the day before the All-Star break and then losing to Minnesota on the road because of the fact of this is just the James Borrego year that's just going to happen for the Hornets.
Right.
And the crazy part about it is Charlotte can play with Miami. They can. I think Montrezl Harrell is a completely different player. The numbers don't always show how good Montrezl Harrell is.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're thinking 15 points, 7 rebounds, 16 points, 8 rebounds. That's a lot, but what kind of difference does that make? The fact of how he energized JT Thor to start flying around the court like a creative player on 2K in the fourth quarter last night. I mean, JT Thor was cutting. You know, that dunk he had when Plumlee found him right next to the rim. You know, how do you miss JT Thor? I mean, you should not miss JT Thor at all on the court.
Have y'all hold on real quick. Plumlee has played better since Harrell got here. Y'all
hello.
There's a little bit more.
Absolutely. Look, listen, Mason Plumlee did something last night. I was like, okay, all right, that's not the same dude. Mason Plumlee. Listen, he actually had a sequence where he didn't look to pass out of a damn layup. Like, he actually went straight up. I'm like, hold on, man. Like when did you start doing this? But
he was doing it in Detroit all last year.
Right.
That Plumlee, like the Plumlee that was in Detroit, a guy that does he doesn't have to score. He grabbed 12 rebounds last night. He had 6 assists last night. He was involved in a lot of hustle plays last night. He wasn't trying to run the fast break last night, but he did all the little things that was needed. And man, he allowed Montrezl Harrell to start getting those double teams, and Montrezl Harrell was hitting those passes out of the double teams. Yeah.
And that's going to be big for Oubre and Miles Bridges because now teams are going to. Who else was getting double teamed?
I haven't seen a Hornets big man double team since Emeka Okafor.
Exactly.
Al Jefferson. Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you,
slowed his way to a double team though, because he was so slow he moved himself into a double team.
But I wanted to make 2 quick points about Miami, man. The reality of the last Miami Heat game, as bad as it turned out, the reality is we really just got severely outplayed one quarter. That one quarter was just disastrous, obviously. But going forward, what I really like about us in the Heat is Montrezl Harrell matching up versus Bam Adebayo. I like that matchup way more than I like any other matchup that we've had previously, and that may make a difference. So and
Bam he didn't play well against us.
Miami's still scary though. I mean, just
Yeah,
the
they are.
versatility of the Heat everywhere across the court, and
But
Jimmy Butler hasn't played his best basketball the last 2 weeks, and Miami still is winning.
And it's because of the way they play defense. I mean, they play defense like I want the Hornets to play defense.
Yeah.
But last night we saw the Heat blow a humongous lead last night to Kyrie Irving and a bunch of creator wrestlers in the Nets last night. Like Kyrie Irving literally got hurt and literally erased a 20-something point deficit last night.
Well, we need that kind of luck here next week.
Yeah, I'm going 1-1. I think that LaMelo gets fired up for the playing against Minnesota. He understands the significance of a matchup against Anthony Edwards, and I think we win that game and lose to Miami. Speaking of LaMelo, the last time that we all talked last week, we talked about how LaMelo got snubbed for the All-Star game. However, he was picked by the commissioner to fill in for the spot that Kevin Durant vacated due to injury. So he now in his second season has made the All-Star game. By the way, thanks, Danny.
Danny, appreciate it, bro.
He's made the All-Star game. He's also will be playing in the Rising Stars game, which is a different format in which there are 4 different teams and they play kind of like a mini playoff. What are your expectations for LaMelo Ball for his first All-Star weekend? He did not participate last year because he had a wrist injury. So this is his first All-Star weekend, and he's playing in the little game and the big game.
I think he is going to be spectacular. He's going to put on an absolute show in the little game. I think in the big game, he probably won't get that many minutes because we know it's a pecking order. You know what I mean? The young guys don't get the minutes in the All-Star game. That's the way it's been since I've been watching basketball. Yeah. So I don't have any high expectations for the actual All-Star game through no fault of his own. And we can expect the town hall meetings and the fire, whoever the coach is for the Eastern Conference All-Stars and all that stuff, because LaMelo probably will play 15 minutes in the All-Star game. So,
yeah, I don't even know if he'll play that in the All-Star game. I mean, although there are players that like
Chris Middleton,
Fred VanVleet. Although Fred VanVleet, I think deserves his All-Star.
He does. He does. But if you're watching the All-Star game, how does this sound? Here's VanVleet to Middleton. Oh, what a layup!
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. But yeah, I feel you. I think LaMelo is going to act a fool in the Rising Stars game and be a little bit more subdued. And there's a clip of the Eastern Conference locker room before the 1997, 90 or 98 All-Star game. That was Kobe Bryant's very first All-Star game. And that was Kobe Bryant's second season. He was coming off the bench then, but he made the All-Star game. And they were talking, particularly Michael Jordan, they were just talking trash about Kobe Bryant in the other locker room and how if he came in the game, they were essentially just going to treat him like shit when he came in the game. So, yeah, you're right about that packing order. I mean, this is Kobe Bryant. I mean, they named the All-Star MVP award after him. That's how great Kobe was in the All-Star game. Right. But I can see the same thing happening with LaMelo. The players aren't going to let him get too much shine in the big All-Star game. They're not going to let him. Even the guys on Team Durant, I think, are going to make sure that he plays kind of subdued. But next season, when he makes another All-Star game, then all bets are off.
All bets are off. He might mess around winning the MVP next year. So.
Exactly. Yep. So also, congratulations to LaMelo Ball and the Charlotte Hornets for getting an All-Star. I hate that he had to backdoor his way into the All-Star game, but he absolutely deserved to be in the game. And so did Miles Bridges. I really hate that Miles Bridges is not in the All-Star team, but we have more important things to focus on here on this land.
No doubt. Hey man, Super Bowl's today. Are you changing your picks, or what are we looking like today?
My pick to go to both my picks. I picked San Francisco and Kansas City, and they both lost.
Same.
So I mean, I would say I'm gonna root for the Chargers. The only reason
Rams.
Oh, did I say Chargers? Wow.
You did, yeah.
The LA Rams. is because Tampa is the only team to win a Super Bowl in their home stadium, which I think is dumb.
Yeah, it's garbage. It is. It's really dumb.
It's dumb.
It's really dumb.
And so I'd like to see another team have that. So I'm pulling for LA. Also, now part of me doesn't want to root for LA because Matt Stafford told the Carolina Panthers, but you know what?
But now it's like, how can you blame the guys?
Yeah, he was right. He knew. He was like, no, I'm not going to play for them.
Look like a good decision to me. So
yeah, great decision. Plus, I think Matthew Stafford gets underrated because those Detroit teams were terrible.
Terrible. Yep.
He has been the quarterback for 2 of the best receiving seasons in NFL history. There's a lot to that. I mean, Megatron wasn't throwing him to himself, and neither was Cooper Kupp. So, props to Matt Stafford. He bet on himself. He's like, I'm not going to play for Matt Rule in the clown show. I'm going to LA, and I'm going to win me a Super Bowl, and it looks like they might do that. So
real quickly, man, I don't feel comfortable betting against the Bengals because every time I have, we see where they're at now. However, I don't think they've played a defense like this. One thing that I'm going to watch very closely for the Super Bowl is the Jalen Ramsey Jamar Chase matchup. That is going to be must-see TV. And on top of that, I don't think the Bengals have faced anything like Aaron Donald or Von Miller, and they don't have a good offensive line, man. So I just don't think that bodes well for the Bengals, man. But I've been wrong about the Bengals every other time, so it wouldn't surprise me if they pull this thing out today. I'm gonna go with the safe pick and go with the Rams, though.
Yeah, the best team doesn't always win the Super Bowl. We know that, but I mean, the Bengals have a legitimate chance. I don't know if they'll get blown out. It's just that also, will the moment be too big for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase?
Right, I don't think so.
You know, the Rams have a ton of veterans, although Matt Stafford's never been to a Super Bowl, even won a playoff game before this season. He's a veteran. Aaron Donald's a veteran.
And real quick, Kaiser, there's probably a chance where the Rams have home field advantage, not just because they're in LA. But here's the thing: we know with Super Bowls, all those tickets are corporate tickets and important people and blah blah blah. Well, you're kind of in the epicenter of people with money and importance, so you may be seeing a bit of a home field advantage with the Rams, man. Maybe.
Yeah, playing in the Super Bowl is already tough enough, and imagine having to deal with essentially being a road team.
Yeah, right.
Like an actual real road team in a Super Bowl. That's going to be tough, man. If the Bengals win this, that's going to be kind of historic.
Hey, look, we're going to get out here, but I'm going to ask you one more question. What is the one song you want to hear at halftime?
Oh, boy. God. I've been listening to Snoop Dogg's. I guess that'll be my shout-out. Snoop Dogg is one of my favorite rappers of all time. I remember the very first time I saw him when Deep Cover, the video premiered on MTV. And the next day in middle school, everyone was like, yo, you see this dude Snoop Dogg? And I know I'm happy with that. And I was like, yo, this guy's crazy. You know, I've been a Snoop Dogg fan for like 30-something years. And to go from being a Crip, who at one time was facing life in prison for murder
charges. Yeah, right.
To being worth $250 million doing commercials with Martha Stewart and buying the label that put him on. I'm just like, hey man, that's legend.
That's champion stuff right there.
That's legend stuff. So he got a new album out called Back on Death Row. Been listening to it. It's good. It's Snoop Dogg. And so you know the halftime show tonight. Deep cover. I'm gonna say deep cover. Because you got Dre,
listen, Kaza, they can't do that. They can't cause riots across America. Dog, if they play deep cover, you know how crazy people will get if they start playing that song, dude?
That's what I'm saying. It's LA. It's LA. You play deep cover. You play deep, yeah.
I was going to say still Dre because I kind of expect them to play the safe stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't expect them to play the real gangster stuff, man. That's why I'm like deep cover, like man.
You're right. Plus, you know, Snoop, Dre, Eminem, they're all old. Like they're old. They're gonna stick to the. And plus, we know how the NFL has been in the past. I gotta say, this was risky for the NFL. ever since Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake, which was almost 20 years ago now,
Yeah.
they have tried to be as safe as possible on the Super Bowl. And slowly they're getting back to where, like, okay, we're going to take some – this was risky for them to be like, okay, we're going to take a gangbanger who was on trial for murder, a guy who beat his wife,
and another Andy Barnes and made a song called "F the Police."
Right? Yeah, and a drug addict. You know, who that's the Super Bowl show this year.
That's the Super Bowl show. Yeah. That's far removed from the Who and the Doors.
yeah, exactly. It's not. Yeah, this is not Michael Jackson.
Nah.
Didn't Michael Jackson do the Super Bowl last time in the Bengals? Was that Bengals?
Nah, that was Cowboys Bills, I believe.
Okay, yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, I think. Don't quote me on that though. I think it was in the 90s at some point though. Yeah.
Also, shout at real quick. This is a shout at. To all you YouTube channels, Twitter spaces that thrive on negativity, F you guys. That's all I have. That's all I have to say. If you're gonna come at us, I'm not saying no names. If you're gonna come at us, just know that on Under Construction, we've always tried to. Sometimes we're sarcastic buttholes. Hey, I get it, but we've always tried to maintain an air of integrity and objectiveness while being positive. We're not going to be salacious or just talk about negativity because that gets us views and clicks. Trust me, if we wanted to, we could go out, we could talk shit about Michael Jordan and JB and Mitch and the locker room being lost, and oh my God, LaMelo wants to fight JB in the parking lot just to get people talking, but we're not going to do that. If that's you, fine, you do that, but we're not going to. And to our fans out there, I implore you guys, don't give those guys your clicks and views. Don't, because just when I see those come across my YouTube algorithm, ignore. I just ignore that. I don't even want to give them the view. I don't even want to go into the comments and start flaming cats because
and to add to that, that's what makes me appreciate the people who mess with us. That's why I appreciate y'all. Y'all haven't, why we're here. You're here for some substance. Right. We're gonna give you substance over style. And I like the fact that we are respected by real journalists, by people who've been in the industry for decades. Those guys respect us. And I thrive on that more than views. And I also thrive on the fact that you guys are with us every week and check us out every week. That's where we get all our fun, man.
Don't even agree with our views, and you challenge us, and we're cool
with that. We love it.
Really love that because that's what sports debate is all about. But if you're going to try and debate sports with us, but your platform is built on negativity, then I don't have time for that.
We'll tune that out. We don't do that here. Anyway, we got to go, man.
Y'all take care. Y'all enjoy your Super Sunday. Just you do have to work tomorrow, so
So what is that mean? What I'm drinking my Remy tonight. I don't know what you're talking about, man. I gotta go get my wings, man. I'll holler at y'all next week.
I'm gonna get thrown for the Super Bowl halftime show. So y'all take care. Take care of each other. Enjoy your Sunday. Peace.
Peace, guys.